You were never anything more than a hired womb to me." Those were the last words my sister Gabriella said to me 10 years ago, standing in the hospital hallway while I was still bleeding from giving birth to her daughter. My name is Elizabeth, and that moment destroyed my life. I was 22 then, fresh out of college, broke, and stupidly in love with the idea of helping my big sister become a mother. Gabriella had been trying for years, multiple miscarriages, failed IVF attempts. The doctors said her uterus couldn't carry a pregnancy to term. "Please, Lizzie," she'd begged, tears streaming down her face. "You're my only hope. We're family. We help each other, right?" I said yes without hesitation. Of course I did. She was my sister, my hero growing up. I thought I was giving her the greatest gift imaginable. The pregnancy was hell, morning sickness that lasted all day for 6 months, gestational diabetes, preeclampsia that landed me in the hospital twice. But every time Gabriella visited, she'd rub my belly and whisper, "Thank you for giving me my miracle." I felt like I was doing something beautiful, something sacred. Then Amelia was born. The moment they placed that perfect little girl in my arms, something shifted inside me. I knew she wasn't mine to keep, but the love that flooded through me was overwhelming. I'd carried her for 9 months. I'd felt every kick, every hiccup. I'd sung to her, talked to her, dreamed about watching her grow up. "Can I hold her for just a minute?" I asked when Gabriella reached for the baby. "You've held her enough," Gabriella snapped, snatching Amelia away. "She's my daughter." That should have been my first warning. The next few days blurred together. I was recovering from a difficult delivery, while Gabriella played the perfect new mother for visitors. She barely acknowledged I existed. When people asked about the surrogacy, she'd wave dismissively. "Oh, Elizabeth was happy to help. It was a business arrangement." Business arrangement, like I'd been paid, like I hadn't done it out of love. The breaking point came when I asked if I could babysit sometime, maybe take some photos with Amelia to remember our bond. That's when Gabriella said it, the words that still echo in my head every single day. "You were never anything more than a hired womb to me. This baby is mine, Vincent's and mine. You need to accept that and move on." I stared at her, holding my still tender incision, and something inside me died. "Gabriella, I'm your sister. I love her too. I just want to be part of her life." "No," her voice was ice. "You're not her mother. You're not even her aunt anymore. Stay away from my family." She blocked my number that night, blocked me on social media. When I showed up at Mum and Dad's house crying, they sat me down for an intervention. "Gabriella's right, honey," Mum said, not meeting my eyes. "You're getting too attached. It's not healthy." "She's my biological daughter," I screamed. "She's Gabriella's daughter," Dad said firmly. "You need to respect that." They chose sides. They all chose Gabriella. I spent the next 10 years rebuilding my life from nothing. New city, new job, new friends who didn't know about the sister who'd used me and thrown me away. I went to therapy. I dated. I tried to forget. But you never really forget carrying a child for 9 months. You never forget being erased from her life like you never existed. My phone rang at 2:47 a.m. last Tuesday. I almost didn't answer the unknown number. "Elizabeth?" Mum's voice was shaking. "Oh God, Elizabeth, I'm so sorry to call you like this, but we need you." My blood turned to ice. "What's wrong?" "It's Amelia. She's very sick. Leukemia. She needs a bone marrow transplant, and the doctors tested everyone in the family. You're the only match." The irony wasn't lost on me. After 10 years of being told I wasn't family, suddenly I was the only one who could save her. "Elizabeth, are you there? Your niece is going to die if you don't help." My niece, not my daughter, never my daughter. But for the first time in a decade, I held all the cards. "I'll call you back," I said and hung up. This time, things were going to be different. I called Mom back 3 days later. Let them sweat a little. Elizabeth, thank God. Can you come to the hospital today? We're all here with Amelia. I'll be there in an hour. My hand shook as I drove to Children's Hospital. 10 years. 10 years since I'd seen any of them. My best friend Trinity had offered to come with me, but I needed to do this alone. The pediatric oncology ward smelled like disinfectant and fear. I found them in the family waiting area. Mom, Dad, Gabriella, and her husband Vincent. They looked older, worn down. Gabriella's perfect blonde hair was in a messy bun, her designer clothes wrinkled. Elizabeth. Mom stood up first, arms outstretched like we were having a normal family reunion. I stepped back. Don't. The hurt in her eyes almost made me feel guilty. Almost. Where is she? I asked. Sure. In her room? Sleeping? Gabriella said without looking at me. The chemo makes her tired. I want to see her. That's not... We should talk first. Gabriella finally met my eyes. She looked desperate, which was a new look for her. About the procedure. The doctors say you're a perfect match. It's like a miracle. Funny how miracles work, I said. 10 years of radio silence. And now you need something. Dad cleared his throat. Elizabeth, we know this is complicated, but... Complicated? I laughed and it came out bitter. That's one word for it. Vincent spoke up for the first time. Look, I know there's history here, but Amelia is dying. She's 10 years old. Whatever issues you adults have, she doesn't deserve to suffer for them. He was right, and I hated him for it. I want to see her first, I said, before we discuss anything. Gabriella's jaw tightened. She doesn't know about the surrogacy. We told her you're her aunt who lives far away. That's all she needs to know. Of course they had. I followed them down the hallway, my heart hammering against my ribs. Amelia was tiny in the hospital bed, bald from chemo but still beautiful. She had my nose, Gabriella's eyes, and Vincent's chin. She was awake, playing on a tablet. Amelia, sweetheart, Gabriella said softly. This is your Aunt Elizabeth. She came to visit you. Those brown eyes looked up at me, curious and tired. Hi, Mom said you live really far away. I do, I managed. And how are you feeling? Okay, I guess. The medicine makes me throw up a lot. But the doctors say I might get better if I can find a special donor. She smiled and my heart shattered. Are you here to get tested? Everyone in the family did, but nobody matched. I glanced at Gabriella, who was staring at the floor. Something like that, I said. We talked for a few more minutes. Amelia was smart, funny, brave in the way only sick kids can be. When she dozed off, we went back to the waiting area. She's beautiful, I said. She is. Gabriella's voice cracked. Elizabeth, I know things ended badly between us, but she's everything to me. Please. Now, you want to talk about how things ended? That's not fair. You were getting too attached. I had to protect my family. Your family. I stood up. Right. Well, your family needs me now. Mum grabbed my arm. Elizabeth, please. We'll do anything. Just name it. Anything? They all nodded eagerly. I need to think about it. This is a major medical procedure. There are risks. The risks are minimal, Vincent said quickly. We've researched everything. You'd be saving her life. And what do I get out of it? The question hung in the air like a bomb. Gabriella's face went white. What do you mean? Dad asked. I mean, last time I helped this family, I got called a hired womb and cut out of everyone's lives. So what's different this time? This is different because she's dying, Gabriella snapped. She was my daughter too, and you made sure I never got to know her. Now, you want me to risk my health to save her? And then what? You disappear again? Elizabeth, that's not, Mum started. I'll do it, I said, cutting her off. I'll save her. But this time, we're doing things my way. Gabriella's relief was visible. Thank you. Thank you so much. We can schedule the procedure for... I'm not done. My voice was steel. I have conditions, non-negotiable conditions, and we're going to put everything in writing with lawyers present. The silence was deafening. What kind of conditions? Vincent asked carefully. I smiled for the first time since walking into that hospital. The kind that are going to change everything. Lawyers? Gabriella's voice pitched higher. Elizabeth, this is family. We don't need lawyers. We needed lawyers 10 years ago. Maybe then I wouldn't have been treated like disposable property. Dad stepped forward, hands raised like he was calming a wild animal. Now, let's all just take a breath here. We're all emotional. Don't, I pointed at him. Don't you dare tell me to calm down. Where were you when she called me a hired womb? Where were you when I begged you to let me see my own daughter? She's not your daughter, Gabriella exploded. You carried her, that's it. I'm her mother. And yet, here you are, begging the hired womb to save her life. Mum started crying. Elizabeth, please, we made mistakes. We're sorry. But Amelia is innocent in all this. You're right, she is innocent, which is why I'm going to save her. But I'm also going to make sure this family never treats me like garbage again. Vincent ran his hands through his hair. What do you want? Money? We can pay you for the procedure. I laughed. You think this is about money? You people really don't get it. Then what? Gabriella demanded. What could you possibly want that's worth holding a dying child hostage? I am not holding anyone hostage. I am the only thing standing between your daughter and death. That makes me pretty valuable, doesn't it? The waiting room fell silent except for Mum's sniffling. Here's what's going to happen, I continued. Tomorrow we're meeting with a lawyer. My lawyer. And we're going to draw up an agreement that protects everyone involved. What kind of agreement? Dad asked. The kind that ensures I'm treated like a human being this time, instead of medical equipment. Gabriella crossed her arms. I'm not signing anything that gives you rights to my daughter. Then I guess your daughter dies. The words hit like a slap. Mum gasped. Vincent grabbed Gabriella's arm. Elizabeth, he said quietly, you don't mean that. Try me. We stared at each other across the waiting room. 10 years of hurt and anger crackling between us. You're being cruel, Mum whispered. I'm being practical. You want something from me. Fine. But this time I get something in return. Like what? Gabriella's voice was barely controlled. Recognition, respect, a guarantee that I won't be erased again the moment you get what you need. That's blackmail, Dad said. That's negotiation. Something this family should have tried before cutting me out of a child's life. My phone buzzed. Trinity texting. How's it going? Need backup? I typed back quickly. Holding my ground. They're panicking. Good. Don't let them guilt you into anything. You hold all the cards now. She was right. For the first time in 10 years, I had power in this relationship. I need to go, I said, standing up. I'll text Mum the lawyer's information. We meet tomorrow at 2 p.m. Elizabeth, wait, Gabriella's voice cracked. Can't we just talk like sisters? I turned back to her. Sisters don't call each other hired wombs. Sisters don't block each other's phone numbers. Sisters don't steal children and disappear. I didn't steal. You stole 10 years of her life from me. 10 years of birthdays, Christmas mornings, bedtime stories. You made sure she doesn't even know who I really am. Because you're not her mother. I'm more her mother than you think. And tomorrow, we're going to discuss exactly what that means. I walked toward the elevator, but Vincent called out, "Elizabeth, please. I know Gabriella handled things badly before. We all did. But Amelia loves you already. She asked if you were coming back. That stopped me." "She did?" "She said you have kind eyes, like her favourite teacher." My chest tightened. "That doesn't change anything." "It should change everything," Mum said, walking over. "She's your family too. Then you should have remembered that 10 years ago." The elevator doors opened. I stepped inside and turned to face them one last time. 2 p.m. tomorrow. Don't be late. And Gabriella, bring your checkbook. This is going to cost you more than money. As the doors closed, I saw Gabriella sink into a chair, her face in her hands. Vincent was already on his phone, probably calling their lawyer. Good. Let them scramble. Let them panic. For once, they needed me more than I needed them. And I was going to make sure they never forgot it. The law office smelled like leather and old money. My cousin Camilla had agreed to represent me on short notice. Family rates, she'd said with a wink. She was Mom's sister's daughter, but she'd always been the black sheep lawyer who took no prisoners. "Everyone ready?" Camilla asked, adjusting her glasses as we sat around the conference table. I was flanked by Trinity and Camilla. Across from us sat Gabriella, Vincent, Mom and Dad, plus their lawyer, some expensive suit named Richard who kept checking his Rolex. "Let's begin with Elizabeth's terms," Camilla said, opening a thick folder. "Terms?" Richard scoffed. "This is a medical procedure to save a child's life, not a business deal." "Everything's a business deal when you treat family like employees," I said. Camilla slid papers across the table. "First condition. Elizabeth will be legally recognised as Amelia's biological mother in all medical records and documentation." "Absolutely not," Gabriella snapped. "I'm her mother." "You're her adoptive mother," I corrected. "I am her biological mother. The records should reflect reality." "This is insane," Richard muttered, scanning the documents. "Second condition," Camilla continued. "Elizabeth will have guaranteed visitation rights. 2 weekends per month, alternating holidays, and 2 weeks during summer vacation." Gabriella shot to her feet. "Over my dead body." "Sit down, Gabriella," Vincent said quietly. "Let's hear everything first." Third condition. The family will issue a public apology acknowledging their treatment of Elizabeth and her sacrifice. "Public?" Mum's voice was barely a whisper. "Facebook post, minimum 500 words, tagged to all family members," I said. "The truth about what happened 10 years ago." Dad was shaking his head. "Elizabeth, this will humiliate the whole family." "Good. Maybe you should have thought about that before humiliating me." Fourth condition, Camilla read, reimbursement for all medical expenses related to the pregnancy and delivery, plus pain and suffering compensation in the amount of $50,000. $50,000? Richard choked. "That's extortion." "That's 10 years of therapy bills and lost wages from the depression your clients caused," Trinity said coldly. Gabriella was pacing now. "This is ridiculous. You're holding my daughter's life hostage for money and revenge." "I'm protecting myself from being used and discarded again," I shot back. Fifth condition, Camilla continued calmly. "Amelia will be told the truth about her biological parentage in an age-appropriate manner, with Elizabeth present for the conversation." The room went dead silent. "No," Gabriella whispered. "No, absolutely not. She's too young. It would confuse her." "She's 10, not 3, I said. "She deserves to know who carried her, who gave birth to her, who loved her before she even took her first breath." "You'll destroy her sense of security," Mom cried. "Her security was already destroyed when you all lied to her about her own origins. Vincent leaned forward. Elizabeth, I understand you're angry, but think about what this will do to Amelia. She's already sick and scared. She asked me yesterday why I have the same nose as her, I said quietly. Kids aren't stupid. She knows something's different. Richard was furiously taking notes. These demands are completely unreasonable. We'll never agree to... Then your client's daughter dies, Camilla said matter-of-factly. Elizabeth is the only compatible donor. No agreement, no donation. You can't be serious, he sputtered. Dead serious, I said. I spent 10 years being treated like I didn't matter, like I was nothing. Now I'm the only thing standing between that little girl and death, and you want me to just hand over my bone marrow and disappear again? Gabriella stopped pacing and turned to face me. What do you want me to say? That I was wrong? Fine, I was wrong. I'm sorry, is that enough? Not even close. Then what? What will make you happy? I stood up slowly. I want my daughter to know who I am. I want to be part of her life. I want this family to acknowledge that I exist and that I matter. And I want legal protection so you can never erase me again. She's not your daughter, Gabriella screamed. I carried her for 9 months. I felt every kick, every hiccup. I went through 36 hours of labour to bring her into this world. My body created her. My egg, my husband's sperm, my womb, my blood, my sacrifice. We were both shouting now, 10 years of pain and anger exploding across the conference table. Ladies! Camilla's voice cut through the chaos. Sit down, both of you. We glared at each other but sat. These are Elizabeth's terms, Camilla said firmly. Non-negotiable. You have 24 hours to decide. After that, the offer expires. Richard gathered his papers. We need to discuss this privately. Of course you do, I said. But remember, every day you waste discussing is another day Amelia gets sicker. As they filed out, Gabriella turned back one last time. I hate you, she whispered. I know, I replied, but you need me anyway. The door slammed behind them. Trinity and I were eating Chinese takeout in my apartment when my phone rang. Unknown number. Don't answer it, Trinity said, chopsticks halfway to her mouth. Let them sweat. But I was curious. Hello? Elizabeth? It's Davis. My brother. I hadn't heard his voice in 8 years. Davis, how did you get this number? Mom gave it to me. Look, can we talk? I'm in town. Trinity raised her eyebrows. I put the phone on speaker. Talk about what? About what happened? About Amelia? About how screwed up our family is? Now, you want to talk? Where were you 10 years ago? Being a coward, he said quietly. Can I come over? I'm outside your building. I looked at Trinity, who shrugged. Apartment 4B, I said. 20 minutes later, Davis was sitting on my couch looking like he'd aged 15 years instead of 8. His hair was greying at the temples, and he had dark circles under his eyes. You look terrible, I said. Thanks. You look good. Healthy. What do you want, Davis? He rubbed his face. I wanted to apologise for not standing up for you, for letting them treat you like garbage. Okay, apology noted. Anything else? I left because of what they did to you, he said. I couldn't stand watching Mum and Dad choose sides, watching Gabriella act like you never existed. Trinity leaned forward. So, you just disappeared instead of helping? I was 24 and stupid. I thought if I stayed away, I wouldn't have to pick sides. But you did pick a side, I said. You picked their side by staying silent. I know, and I've regretted it every day since. What changed? Why are you here now? Davis pulled out his phone and showed me a photo. A little girl with pigtails, maybe 6 years old. This is Sophie, my daughter. I stared at the picture. You have a daughter. Had. Leukemia. She died 2 years ago. The room went silent. Trinity set down her chopsticks. Davis, I'm so sorry, I whispered, when Mum called and told me about Amelia, about you being the only donor. His voice broke. I couldn't let another little girl die because our family is too proud and stupid to do the right thing. What are you saying? I'm saying you should save her, but I'm also saying you're right to make them pay for what they did to you. Trinity spoke up. Have you talked to your parents? To Gabriella? I tried. Mum hung up on me when I said Elizabeth deserved better. Dad won't even take my calls. And Gabriella, he shook his head, she's exactly the same, still thinks she's the victim in all this. She is losing her daughter, I said quietly. And you lost yours 10 years ago. The difference is you can save Amelia. Nobody could save Sophie. My phone buzzed with a text from Mum. Please call. We need to talk about the terms. I showed it to Davis. They're panicking, he said. Vincent called me this morning. They can't find another donor. Amelia's getting worse. Good, Trinity said. Let them panic. Is it good? I asked, and Ashimatius, a 10-year-old girl is dying while we play games. This isn't a game, Davis said firmly. This is you finally standing up for yourself. Sophie would have loved to have an aunt like you fighting for her. Another text from Mum. Elizabeth, please. She's asking for you. Amelia's asking for me? Davis nodded. Vincent said she keeps talking about her nice aunt with the kind eyes. She wants to know when you're coming back. My chest tightened. She barely knows me. Kids know things. They sense things adults miss. Trinity grabbed my hand. Don't let them guilt you into backing down. You have every right to those demands. But what if she dies while we're negotiating? Then that's on them for waiting 10 years to treat you like family, Davis said. You didn't create this situation, Elizabeth. They did. My phone rang again. This time it was Vincent. Elizabeth, please. The doctors say we're running out of time. Can we meet tonight, just to talk? About what? About finding a compromise. About doing what's best for Amelia. What's best for Amelia is having her biological mother in her life. What's best for Amelia is growing up in a family that doesn't lie to her. I agree, he said quietly. That surprised me. You do? I've never agreed with how Gabriella handled things with you, but she's my wife and I supported her. I was wrong. Davis was nodding encouragingly. Where do you want to meet? I asked. The hospital. Amelia wants to see you. And maybe it's time she knew the truth. Does Gabriella know you're calling me? No. She's at home, crying and refusing to sign your agreement. But, Elizabeth, I can't watch my daughter die because my wife is too proud to admit she was wrong. I looked at Trinity and Davis. They both nodded. I'll be there in an hour. Thank you. And, Elizabeth, bring your lawyer. It's time to end this. The hospital conference room felt like a courtroom. Vincent sat across from me and Camilla, looking exhausted. Mom and Dad flanked him, both avoiding eye contact. Gabriella's chair was empty. Where is she? I asked. Refusing to come, Vincent said. She's with Amelia. So we're doing this without her? We're doing this because of her, Mum said quietly. Elizabeth, she's falling apart. She hasn't slept in 3 days. Neither have I replied. Funny how that works. Camilla spread the documents across the table. Let's review the terms one more time. Before we do that, Vincent interrupted. I need to say something. He pulled out his phone and set it on the table. What's that? Dad asked, eyes up. A recording from 3 years ago. Gabriella was talking to her friend Deborah about the surrogacy. My blood went cold. Vincent, what are you doing? What I should have done years ago. He pressed play. Gabriella's voice filled the room, clear and cruel. The best part about using Elizabeth was that she was so desperate to help, she didn't even ask for money. I mean, surrogates usually cost $50,000 minimum, but my stupid sister did it for free. She actually thought we'd all be one big happy family afterward. It was pathetic, really. I had to cut her off completely. She was getting way too attached to my baby. Deborah's voice. That seems harsh. She is your sister. She was my hired womb. Nothing more. I got what I needed from her, and now she's gone. Problem solved. The recording ended. The silence was deafening. Mum was staring at Vincent in horror. She said that. About her own sister. 3 years ago, at a dinner party, I recorded it because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Dad's face was pale. Vincent, why didn't you tell us? Because I was a coward. Because I chose my marriage over doing what was right. But I can't do that anymore. Not when my daughter is dying. You recorded your own wife, Mum whispered. I recorded a woman being cruel about the person who gave her everything. Vincent looked directly at me. Elizabeth, I am so sorry for all of it, for not standing up to her, for letting you be erased from Amelia's life, for everything. Camilla leaned forward. This recording changes things legally. It proves malicious intent and emotional harm. I don't care about the legal implications, I said, my voice shaking. I care about that little girl upstairs who doesn't know her own story. Then, let's tell her, Vincent said. Tonight, together. Gabriella will never agree to that. Gabriella doesn't get a vote anymore. Vincent's voice was steel. I'm Amelia's father, and I say it's time for the truth. Mum started crying. This is going to destroy our family. Our family was destroyed 10 years ago, I said. We're just finally admitting it. The conference room door burst open. Gabriella stormed in, her face red and blotchy from crying. Vincent, what the hell are you doing? Amelia is asking for you and you're down here playing lawyer? She stopped when she saw the documents on the table. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You're actually considering her ridiculous demands. Sit down, Gabriella, Vincent said quietly. Don't tell me to sit down. This is insane. She's blackmailing us. Like you blackmailed me 10 years ago, I asked, when you threatened to cut me off from the whole family if I didn't back off. That was different. You were being inappropriate. Vincent played the recording. Gabriella's face went white as her own voice filled the room. When it ended, she looked around the table at all of us staring at her. That was taken out of context. What context makes calling your sister a hired womb acceptable? Dad asked, his voice broken. I was upset. I was protecting my family. From what? I demanded. From love. From having another person care about Amelia. From you trying to steal my daughter. I never tried to steal her. I just wanted to be part of her life. Vincent stood up. Enough. Gabriella, you have 2 choices. Sign Elizabeth's agreement, or watch our daughter die while you protect your pride. You can't be serious. Dead serious. I've watched you treat your sister like garbage for 10 years. I've enabled it and I'm done. Sign the papers. And if I don't? Then I'll file for divorce and give Elizabeth full custody rights as the biological mother. The room exploded. Mum gasped. Dad jumped up. Gabriella screamed, You wouldn't dare. Try me. I've already talked to my lawyer. The recording, the medical records, the witness testimony. It's all there. You want to keep playing games with our daughter's life? Fine. But I won't be part of it anymore. Gabriella sank into her chair, defeated. She'll hate me, she whispered. When she finds out the truth, she'll hate me. Maybe, I said gently. Or maybe she'll understand that families are complicated and people make mistakes, and love isn't always perfect. Camilla slid the papers across to Gabriella. All your terms, Vincent said to me. Everything you asked for. Just save my little girl. Gabriella picked up the pen with shaking hands. I'm sorry, she whispered as she signed. Elizabeth, I'm so sorry. It was 10 years too late, but it was a start. The next morning, I was prepped for surgery by 6 a.m. The bone marrow extraction would take about an hour, then Amelia's transplant would happen immediately after. But first, we had promised her the truth. Vincent, Gabriella, and I stood outside Amelia's room. Gabriella's eyes were red and swollen. She hadn't spoken to me since signing the papers. How do we do this? Vincent asked quietly. Honestly, I said, kids can handle more truth than adults think. She's going to hate me, Gabriella whispered. She's going to be confused. There's a difference. We walked in together. Amelia was sitting up in bed, looking tiny in her hospital gown. Her face lit up when she saw me. Aunt Elizabeth, Dad said you're going to help make me better. I am, sweetheart. But first, we need to talk to you about something important. Vincent pulled up chairs for all of us. Amelia looked between our serious faces. Am I in trouble? No, baby, Gabriella said, her voice cracking. You're not in trouble. We need to tell you something we should have told you a long time ago. About what? I took a deep breath. About how you were born, Amelia. About who I really am. Her brown eyes, so much like Gabriella's, focused on me intently. You know how some mummies can't carry babies in their tummies? Vincent started gently. Amelia nodded. Like my friend Sarah's mum. She adopted Sarah from China. Right. Wow, your mum wanted you so badly, but her tummy couldn't keep you safe while you grew. So someone very special helped her. Who? Vincent looked at me. This was it. I did, I said softly. I carried you in my tummy for 9 months. I'm the one who gave birth to you. Amelia stared at me for a long moment. You're my birth mum? Yes. But mum is my mum too. Yes. She's the mum who raised you, who loves you, who takes care of you every day. I'm the mum who helped bring you into the world. So, I have 2 mums? Gabriella was crying silently. Amelia, I'm sorry we didn't tell you sooner. We thought it would be too confusing. It's not confusing, Amelia said matter-of-factly. My friend Marcus has 2 dads. Now, I have 2 mums. She looked at me with those serious brown eyes. Is that why you have the same nose as me? I laughed despite my tears. Yes, that's why. And why I felt like I knew you when we met? Maybe. She was quiet for a moment, processing. Then, are you going to disappear again after you help me get better? The question hit like a punch to the gut. No, I said firmly. Never again. If you want me to be part of your life, I'll be here. I want that. She looked at Gabriella. Is that okay, Mum? Gabriella nodded, unable to speak. Good. Amelia settled back against her pillows. So, when do we do the surgery thing? Right now, actually, Vincent said. Are you ready? Will it hurt? You'll be asleep, I said. And when you wake up, you'll start getting better. Will you be there when I wake up? If you want me to be. I want both my mums there. The nurses came to prep Amelia for surgery. As they wheeled her toward the operating room, she grabbed my hand. Thank you for carrying me, she said simply, and thank you for saving me. I squeezed her small hand. Thank you for letting me be your mum. An hour later, I was in recovery while Amelia was in surgery. The bone marrow extraction had gone perfectly. Vincent sat beside my bed while Gabriella paced by the window. The doctors say it went well, he said. Your marrow is already being prepared for transfusion. How long until we know if it worked? Weeks, maybe months. But the doctors are optimistic. Gabriella finally spoke. I need to say something. Vincent and I both looked at her. I was wrong about everything. I was scared and selfish, and I convinced myself that cutting you out was protecting Amelia. But really, I was protecting myself. From what? I asked. From sharing her, from admitting that someone else loved her as much as I did, from facing the fact that I owed you everything and I treated you like nothing. She sat down heavily. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't even know if I can forgive myself, but I want you to know that I see it now. What I did to you, what I stole from both of you. Gabriella? No, let me finish. You gave me the greatest gift anyone could give, and I threw it back in your face. I called you horrible names. I turned our parents against you. I made sure you couldn't even send birthday cards. She was sobbing now. And despite all of that, you're here. You're saving her life. You're a better person than I'll ever be. I reached out and took her hand. We're both her mothers, Gabriella. We both love her. That's what matters now. Can you ever forgive me? I thought about 10 years of pain, of missed birthdays and Christmas mornings, of wondering if Amelia was happy or sad or scared. I can try, I said finally. For her sake. We can try. A nurse appeared in the doorway. The transplant is complete. Amelia is asking for her mums. Both of them. We walked to her room together. Amelia's recovery room was filled with flowers and balloons. She was awake, groggy, but smiling when we walked in together. How are my two mums doing? She asked, and my heart nearly burst. We're good, baby, Gabriella said, kissing her forehead. How are you feeling? Tired, but the doctor said the new bone marrow is already working. He called it remarkable. I sat on the edge of her bed. That's because you're remarkable. We all are, she said seriously. Our family is complicated, but we're all remarkable. Vincent laughed. When did you get so wise? I had a lot of time to think while you guys were arguing about lawyers. Over the next few weeks, our new normal took shape. I visited Amelia every other day, bringing books and puzzles. Gabriella was there most of the time, and slowly, we learned to share space without fighting. I posted the apology, Gabriella said one afternoon while Amelia napped. She showed me her phone. The Facebook post was 5 paragraphs long, detailing everything. The surrogacy, her cruel treatment of me, the years of silence. It had over 200 comments, most of them supportive of me. Your cousin Janet called you a saint, she said quietly. I'm not a saint. I'm just someone who loves that little girl. I know. I'm starting to understand the difference. Mum and Dad visited that evening. The dynamic was still awkward, but they were trying. Elizabeth, we owe you an apology too, Dad said. We should have stood up for you. We were wrong to choose sides, Mum added. Family shouldn't work that way. No, it shouldn't, I agreed. But we're learning. Davis flew in the next week. Amelia was fascinated by her uncle she'd never met. You look like Mum, she told him, but nicer. Hey, Gabriella protested, but she was smiling. It's true, Davis said. I am much nicer than your mum. That's not hard, Amelia said solemnly, making us all laugh. The real test came when Amelia was discharged. Vincent had insisted on family dinner at their house. My first time there in 10 years. This is weird, Amelia announced as we sat around the dining room table. But good weird. Good weird how? I asked. Like when you find a puzzle piece you thought was lost forever, and suddenly the whole picture makes sense. Gabriella started crying again. She'd been doing that a lot lately. I'm sorry, she said. I just keep thinking about all the dinners we missed, all the holidays, all the times Amelia asked about family and I lied. We can't change the past, I said, but we can do better going forward. Speaking of going forward, Vincent said, we need to discuss the custody arrangement. We'd worked out a schedule, 2 weekends a month with me, alternating holidays, summer vacation split between us. It was exactly what I'd demanded in the legal agreement. I want to modify something, I said. Everyone looked nervous. I want Amelia to have the choice. If she wants to spend more time with me, or less, or different holidays, her choice. She's old enough to have a say in her own life. Really? Amelia perked up. I get to choose. Within reason, Gabriella said quickly. You still have school and... Mum, Amelia interrupted. It's okay. I want time with both of you. I want to know Elizabeth better, but you're still my everyday mum. Everyday mum, Gabriella repeated. I like that. And Elizabeth is my special mum, the one who carried me and saved me. I like that too, I said. Trinity came for dessert, bringing her famous chocolate cake. She'd become Amelia's favourite aunt over the past month. So, what's next? She asked as we cleaned up dishes. Next, we figure out how to be a family, I said. A weird, complicated, sometimes difficult family. The best kind, Amelia called from the living room where she was beating Vincent at checkers. That night, as I tucked Amelia into bed at Gabriella's house, something I'd never thought I'd do, she grabbed my hand. Elizabeth, I'm glad you fought for me. I'm glad I did too. Even though it was scary and everyone was mad. Especially because of that. Sometimes the most important fights are the scariest ones. She nodded seriously. I'll remember that. I kissed her forehead. My daughter, who I'd carried and lost and found again. Sweet dreams, baby girl. Sweet dreams, Mum. Walking to my car, I passed Gabriella in the hallway. We stopped, looking at each other. Thank you, she said quietly, for saving her, for fighting for her, for being better than I deserved. Thank you for letting me back in. I didn't have a choice. You always had a choice, Gabriella. You just finally made the right one. She nodded, tears in her eyes again. I'll spend the rest of my life making up for the wrong ones. Good, I said. So will I. Because that's what family does. We hurt each other, we fight, we make terrible mistakes. But when it matters most, we show up. We save each other. We choose love over pride, even when it takes 10 years to figure it out.